Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about web accessibility. So, what is web accessibility? This simply means that websites, tools, and technologies are designed and developed so that people with any type of disability can use them. More specifically, it's designed so that people can perceive, understand, navigate, and interact with the web, and so that they're also able to contribute to the web. So, it's making the web easily accessible for all people. So, what does that include? Web accessibility encompasses all types of disabilities that affect access to the web, including any type of auditory or hearing disability, cognitive, which has to do with the way that you think, neurological, which is brain function, physical disabilities, speech disabilities, as well as visual disabilities. We have to think, someone who's blind still needs to have a way to be able to access the web. So we need to be aware of that and thinking of that when we're creating our websites. So, web accessibility also benefits people without disabilities. For example, people using mobile phones, smartwatches, smart TVs, and other devices with small screens, different input modes. That's a type of web accessibility as well. When we modify a website from a desktop computer to a laptop screen to a tablet screen to your cell phone, that's still a form of accessibility. Also, older people that have changing abilities due to aging, people who have temporary disabilities, such as a broken arm or lost glasses, it needs to be accessible for them as well. People that have situational limitations, such as in who can't see as well in bright sunlight or in an environment where they can't listen to audio, or people using a slow internet connection or who have limited or expensive bandwidth. So we have to be thinking about all these types of things when we create our websites to try to make sure that it's accessible for anyone. So, why is this even important? It's important because the web needs to be accessible so that all people have equal access and equal opportunity to use the web, regardless of their disability. According to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, having access to information and communications technology like the web is a basic human right. It's a human right of all humans, no matter what their disability is. And now, in many situations, web accessibility is actually required by law. So, if you're running some type of business and building a website in certain places, it's actually the law to make sure that your website is accessible to all people. So, in addition to having website accessibility for individuals with disabilities, having an accessible website will also benefit society. So, it supports social inclusion for people with disabilities as well as others, such as older people, people who live in rural areas, or people in developing countries. So, people who may not, have the best internet service still on some basic level should be able to access your website. So you have to be thinking about, even when you're putting all these bells and whistles on your website, you have to be thinking of ways for that website to be viewed in places where they have a low bandwidth or they may not have um, the expensive technology to be able to see all of your bells and whistles. Accessibility also benefits businesses. So, people that have accessible websites will usually have better search results. They'll have lower maintenance costs and increased audience reach because now, since your website is accessible to all, more people are going to be able to actually view and use that website. And it also demonstrates social responsibility as a business, that you really care about your community and you're trying to make sure that everyone is included. So, how do we make the web accessible? Well, right now we have something called the W3C Web Accessibility Initiative, or WAI. They've developed some technical specifications and guidelines for making your site accessible. So, if you go on their website, they actually have many tools and these specific guidelines for that you should use when building your websites and make sure that it's accessible. When you start to look into it, you'll find that most of the ways to make a website accessible are fairly easy and fairly quick to implement. But there's lots of tutorials out there and there's lots of checklists online that can help you to make sure that you're thinking of every aspect of how you can make your website accessible. And then you just need to make sure that you check out the WC3WAI website. They have many, many tips, many, many tools to help you make your website accessible, as well as some tips for how you can actually evaluate your particular website to make sure that it is truly accessible. So, utilizing those tools and those things that are out there on the web should get you started, making sure that your websites are accessible for all people. Hopefully, you learned a little bit from this small presentation here, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye bye.